This is Support is Sexy, episode 440. Stand in your light. Welcome to Support is Sexy. I'm your host, Elayne Fluker, entrepreneur, author, and founder of Chic Rebellion Media. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, I bring you inspiring women entrepreneurs who share their wins and lessons to help you take your business to the next level. Here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Support is Sexy. I'm excited to have you here. You know, it just would not be the same without you. And today I want to talk to you about remembering to stand in your light. And this came up for me recently because I've mentioned on a few episodes ago, I guess it was, I don't know how many, it's all blending together now, everybody. All the episodes, it's all one beautiful blur. So a few episodes ago, I spoke about bringing on a team to support me in my business. I'm incredibly excited about it. It's such a blessing. And I have wonderful people working with me, bringing them in different parts of the business. One part of the business is digital marketing. Marketing is not my ministry, right? As they say, that's not my ministry. I do it. I do social media. I've done everything in the business over the past year, which is how it is for a lot of us when we start, right? You're doing everything. You bring in people as you can. Well, now I'm working with a fantastic agency. Really love them. It's been, I guess, a couple of months now. And one of the gentlemen at this agency who manages my account, and we have meetings and calls and talk about strategy and testing out different things, which is something I mentioned on that previous episode, the number I can't remember, talking about being able to let go of the reins, right? And let your team rise to the occasion. So not being too controlling around, in this case, social media. They don't handle social media for my personal account, but for Support is Sexy, we're testing some things, seeing how some things go, and that kind of thing. So, of course, with testing, you get numbers and you get feedback. And Tim, the gentleman I work with, who is just lovely, has been gently encouraging me to test out putting myself and my image further out front. Now, I already feel like I'm out front, and this is definitely something I know I've spoken about on the podcast before. I've been told by different people and coaches and other people who have certain kinds of insight that they feel like I'm still playing small in my business, that I'm doing the podcast, obviously, but that's still behind a mic, that I do videos once in a while, or some of these other things that are more quote unquote out front. I don't necessarily do them. I'm a supporter. I love being behind the scenes, but why? What's the reason for that? Anyway, I'm not going to self-diagnose here on the podcast. I'll figure it out. I'll talk to my coach, Margot. We're going to figure that out. In any case, Tim is wonderful. That gentle push, moving me out front, making me more comfortable, sharing more of my images. Not that I don't show any, but they have been, let's just say it's part of the strategy now, right? So you'll see a lot more images of me just doing what I do and other kinds of things that we're just seeing how it goes. Shared all that to say, recently I had a call with Mr. Tim, and he said, actually, I think he sent it in an email and said, the data doesn't lie, or the numbers are in, or something like that, to basically say, we have proof the audience likes seeing you as well as the other women and the other things that you do, but they want to see more of you. I could not argue with the numbers. Other people, I can make excuses and say, oh, well, this is why I don't do that, or I don't know if that's what my audience wants, or any kind of dance I can do to stay out of the light. But Tim came to me with data, information, numbers, responses, engagement, all of that great stuff that digital marketing companies have, which is what you need. In this case, though, it's what I needed to be able to say, okay, why am I hiding? Why am I uncomfortable with, quote unquote, putting myself out there more? Maybe I'm fooling myself, or maybe I'm not. I don't know. But if I were certain that I wasn't, then I would know, right? I would say, no, this is what I want to do. I'm okay being in this position, etc. But if your audience is saying, you all, thank you, are saying that you want to see more or hear more about just what I'm doing or behind the scenes or whatever that looks like, we don't know yet, but we're testing it out right now with images. But the fact that he had concrete information, I guess I'm one of those people like, show me the receipts. That's what Tim did. He showed me the receipts, y'all. Here are the receipts. Your pictures are doing well, better than everything else. We need some more. Let's make it happen. Move out in front. What are you waiting on? In a lovely, gentle way. But that's basically what I heard. And the conversation, which was very encouraging, honestly, I got to get over myself. It's not about me. That's really ego is what that is. It's not about me. Get out there, do the work, show up for the audience in new ways. That's what it's about in 2018. I'm going to show up for you in all kinds of new ways. But what the conversation with Tim reminded me, not only just of this is a conversation I've had before and I need to stop having the conversation and shift the narrative. Other than that, it reminded me of something that Paul Carrick Brunson has said. If you don't know who Paul Carrick Brunson is, make sure you go ahead and Google him. Wonderful guy, lovely husband, great father, matchmaker who has evolved. Actually, he has a huge business now or doing a lot, helping entrepreneurs, actually mentoring, has all these programs. I think he has a mastermind. So look up Paul, especially on LinkedIn. He's crushing it with great, valuable content on LinkedIn. I've known Paul since maybe 2010. I was at Black Enterprise at the time, executive editor for the website. Met Paul, featured him, had him at the events, and other times I've worked with him. He's been on my network, Chic Rebellion TV. So great relationship with Paul Carrick Brunson. Clearly, I am a fan. But something that Paul said stuck with me for years now when he was working with Oprah Winfrey on the Oprah Winfrey Network on their show, Lovetown. This was years ago. He was a co-host on that show. And Paul said something that, again, has stuck with me for many years when I heard him say it. I guess it was either in a television interview or I read it somewhere. He said when he first met Oprah, he had been working on the show, but when he first met Oprah, it was at a huge event. They were about to go up on stage. The lights are shining. The big audience is there. And the cameraman, or I guess the technical person, said to him, make sure you stand in the light. And he said, what does that mean? And the man said, you'll feel it. Just stand in the light. And Paul went on to say that when he got up there, Oprah was there, the crowd was there. I guess it was just, not I guess, I'm certain it was just a moment. And he said he felt the light, the warmth of the light, nothing like the warmth of the light. I'm sure the warmth of that moment. So when I was talking to Tim and thinking about, okay, got to get out of my own head and get out of my ego and move forward and do these things, I thought I need to stand in the light, no matter what the fear is, no matter what my ego is telling me, no matter whatever my hangups are. I have to bring those to the light, right? Bring those out of the shadows, but myself too. Maybe there are ways that I'm holding myself back. And I always say, as I have learned from the ladies I've spoken to on the podcast, your business can only expand to the level of your self-development, right? The level of your personal development will determine how big, how far, how sustainable your business is. I know this. I've learned this. I believe it. I've seen it in myself. So if I continue to limit myself, if this is truly a limitation, if there's a hang up other than some legitimate reason I have that I haven't really gone out and done Facebook Live and some of the other things that I want to do, whatever the hang up is, I believe, I trust, and Tim has receipts, that I am in some ways holding my business back because I'm refusing to stand in the light. In fact, I believe I'm dancing around the light. So if the spotlight was on the stage, I'd be dancing around the outside of it, but not fully standing in the light. So I am committing to coming out of the shadows in whatever way I need to, whatever that looks like, and standing in the light. And I shared that story with you to ask you, is there some place in your business, in your life, in your career, in your relationship where you are hiding in the shadows and not standing in the light? Again, I want you to think about that. Your career, your business, your relationship, your family, anything that you're working on, is there some way that you are holding yourself back, playing small? Never mind what the reason is. Are you doing it? Come to terms with, are you doing it? Is there a part of you right now that this is resonating with? So not trying to figure out why, right? Just like we sort of let go of the how. Don't think about why right now. First, identify, is this something that you're doing? And in this moment, will you make a commitment to stand in the light? Whatever that looks like, might be messy, might be scary, might be certainly imperfect. That's what I'm coming to terms with. Going to be imperfect, but stand in the light because you don't know what's possible unless you stand in the light. You have to be willing to show the flaws. You have to be willing to, as I'm doing, experiment. You have to be willing to listen to what your audience, your family, your team, etc. needs from you in the moment. If that's something that you want to support them with or supply them with, this is certainly the case with me. My business is very important to me. You all are incredibly important to me. I need to stand in the light. So for you, are you holding yourself back in some ways that you don't even need to? It's not even a real limitation. It's all in your mind, right? It's all mindset. Why are you doing it is something you're going to figure out later. Right now, in this moment, I just want you to pause and think, in this area of my life, am I holding myself back? Is this why this isn't working? Is this why this hasn't moved forward? Am I dancing around the spotlight when I really want to stand in the light, but I'm afraid to come out of the shadow? Think about that for a moment and make a commitment now to stand in the light, to figure out what you can do, what support you can get, right? Because that's what we're all about. What support you can get to stand in the light. And actually, I found that quote from Paul where he talked about meeting Oprah and learning to stand in the light. So I'm going to leave you with this as you think about whether you're hiding in the shadows and dancing around the spotlight when you should be standing in the light. Paul said in an article for Black Enterprise on blackenterprise.com, when Oprah travels, she has this lighting kit because she's Oprah. One of the producers and cameraman whispered in my ear before Oprah hit the stage, "Make sure that you stand in the light." I asked him what that meant. He said, just go up on the stage and you're going to feel it. He was telling me from a technical standpoint where to stand so that I get the best light and appear my best on screen as a Black person. So when I got up on stage, I see Oprah and I'm sweating. I'm nervous. We hugged. She put her hand on my back. I looked at the crowd. They're cheering. And then I kind of felt this light on my face. It was warm. I felt this calmness take over. I stood there and I was thinking, oh my God, this is what life is about. We have to find the light and then let go. Don't worry about everything else. Just find and stand in your light. Stand in your light.